I'm Denise Oosthuizen from wealthwisemag.com, Africa's leading digital interactive wealth and success magazine. And our guest today is Ann Wilson. She is a self-made millionaire from South Africa and also known as the Wealth Chef, and author of the book The Wealth Chef.
Hi, it's so great to be with you today.
Welcome, Ann. Tell us more about your life growing up in South Africa and your dream of becoming financially free.
You know, I grew up as a white South African at the height of apartheid. I'm number 5 of 6 kids, and I grew up in a pretty average family, and where Dad worked really hard, Mum sort of had to manage this horde of kids, and Dad trying to support us. But I was very privileged as a white South African, access to opportunity. But I saw a lot of the conflict and the confusion and aspects around scarcity and haves and have-nots. And I realize now in hindsight, a lot of limiting beliefs and issues around money and having money and what it meant to have money started getting embedded at that time. But even with that, I grew up always feeling there was so much I wanted to do and achieve and be and have. But the only recipe I'd been taught was get a good job, earn well, hopefully, and hopefully you'll put some aside, and at the end of it all, there might be something left over for you to have a bit of fun, and hopefully you run out before the money does. And I set off on that journey, and as I finished studying and starting my first job, my father died when I was in my early 20s, and I really got my first taste of real vulnerability around money, especially for women, as I watched my mum for the first time having to handle the money stuff. Dad had always just done that. She didn't. And now the anxiety, the sleepless nights, the worry about what to do, worrying that with the little pile of money that was left now last, how to make sure that she ran out before it did. And I vowed at that point that I never wanted to be that vulnerable. But I had no idea. I didn't know any other way. But a seed was planted in me that I never wanted to be in that position. And I saw so many women in. But I started the journey the only way I did, and when I got my first job, it was fantastic. Money was everywhere. Credit cards, store loans, overdrafts, the car loan. I thought, okay, this must be the way it is. Everything media was telling me, you can have it now, pay later. After all, you'll earn more. And that was the definition of success. And so I followed that script, believing there was a way to go. And in my late 20s, I stopped and I realized that all the joy of earning money and what I could do in my life was just dissipating away, because debt is a dream crusher. And while my father was dying, I'd also been able to spend some time with him, and he had said, you won't believe, sweetie, how fast this life goes. Make sure you live it with passion, go out there, have adventures, contribute, do all these things. I said, absolutely, of course, Dad, I will. But suddenly having all this debt in my life, and this burden and these chains, it felt like my promise was my ability to do that was further and further away. So I made that decision to find a way to get out of this debt, to shake off those chains. And that's where I learned really my first wealth recipe about how to blitz that debt, how to put a structured plan in place, commit to it, and break free of debt, and I did. And that really showed me, that first point, that despite being educated, despite being able to earn money, I really didn't have a clue how money worked, what I needed to do with it, how I needed to get it working for me, so I could actually be in this place that instead of working for money, I could get money working for me. And that was the start of my journey, and a really exciting journey that took me all over the world, but also a journey into myself, really discovering so much about me and how to get this thing called money working hard for me.
You started The Wealth Chef and wrote the book The Wealth Chef about managing money. Why particularly The Wealth Chef? And tell us more about the book and also your workshops.
The Wealth Chef is a key part because I realized through my own journey, as I started mastering money, getting it working for me, and when I started from zero, it took me just 8 years to achieve my own financial freedom, while actually still working for a salary and income, because I learned how to create these things called assets. And I realized that money is one of the most important ingredients we have to create a juicy feast of our lives. And when we realize that money is right up there with the food our body needs, the oxygen we need to live, money is one of these ingredients, and that how we work with it what we do with it can either create money hell or absolute wealth heaven. And so the wealth shift is really about recognizing this as an ingredient. And also, I discovered that wealth and creating wealth is a learned skill. So if you want to go and learn how to make a meringue, pavlova, you go and get a recipe. We don't go, oh no, that's too complicated. Go, where do you start? Get a recipe. Discover what ingredients you need, what tools, what processes you need to apply, and in what order, and then you give it a go. And the more you practice it, the better you get at making that dish. And money is exactly the same. Investing it, managing it, getting out of debt, expanding it. Things like insurances, wills, the role they play are all different components that make up this feast. And so hence the wealth shift, because we all learn how to cook. Some of us better than others. And it's a bit like on MasterChef, where they bring out that mystery box of those ingredients, where you see people and you go, wow, how with those same ingredients do they transform it? And that's exactly the same with money. We all, in effect, are given the same ingredients, but we're not taught the skills of how to convert that and make it into a great feast. And that's exactly what the Wealth Shift does. Through my company and through the book, providing these 5 core recipes that if you master and implement in your life, your financial freedom is absolutely guaranteed.
Let's talk about your journey to financial freedom. What was the first steps? What were the first steps that you took just to become more financially stable?
Key is to understand that wealth creation is a process, not an event. We look at somebody winning the Comrades Marathon or getting a gold at the Olympics, and we all know that although we celebrate that event, that medal, that there's been a whole process behind it. There's been training and coaches and implementation. And when I first started off my journey, once I got out of debt, consumer debt, which was really key, I started looking for that silver bullet, that money frog that would turn into my prince, hopefully. And I kissed a whole of those get-rich-quick schemes. I thought if I could just find the one thing that would make me the money, then I'd be okay. And I soon realized that those money frogs didn't turn into the prince, that actually it was a process that going through of really establishing wealthy habits in our life, of what we do each and every month with the money that comes in our life, how we manage it. Because money is an incredibly poor master, but it's a fantastic servant. And like an employee, it needs to be given tasks and roles and told what to do. So that first key thing was about setting up a really easy to implement and manage money management system, where I was directing my money and making sure it fed my needs in my life now, so I was living a great life, and my future. And the first key principle is that money management is paying yourself first. Making sure you and your goals and your wealth feast is the most important bill you pay each and every month. And that bill is allowing some of that money to stay in your life and converting it into these things called assets, which are the only things that can actually make money for you, so you can get to the point where you can choose not to work actively for income if you want to. And that is financial freedom.
So I spent like close to 20 years going through this process. I think this is a question that everyone wants to find out the answer to. What works and what doesn't work?
What works is firstly ensuring you keep some money in your life. You're allowed to keep some of what you spend. Then getting and investing. And the more I learned was keep it simple. Keep it simple and consistency. The equity stock market is the easiest investment platform or the easiest assets to get started on, because in South Africa you can start from just 300 Rand a month. It might sound like a lot, but if we all look, we can find 300 Rand somewhere in the pantry that rats eating. But by setting up a regular investment into something like an index tracking fund, which just lets you buy pieces of great businesses and benefit from their profit and their growth without you having to pitch up for a day's work, is fantastic, because that's what an asset is. That's about getting started. Because you've got to take action. One of the biggest wealth inhibitors is analysis paralysis, where people just keep researching different options but never starting, because you actually only learn when you're taking action. So as you start taking action, learning about it, you get better and better at getting better returns, better and better at making your money work hard for you. So start with setting up a direct debit into an index tracking investment product and creating that pattern of investing in yourself. Then you look at either creating passive income businesses and or investment property, and the other two key asset classes. And there's never been a better time in the world in life to get access to creating these assets that can work for us using other people's time, systems, processes, things like the internet to leverage and grow your wealth. But you want to be building up those assets. And yeah, from when I started from zero again, I got myself out of debt, and I decided it took me 8 years to create financial freedom. First focusing on equity, then in my case I went into property, investing in property and understanding leverage, and then creating passive income businesses and getting those stocked in my while I was still using the greatest asset we all have, which is ourselves, because we are the only ones that can actually create the value. We're the ones that create the juicy life, because we are the chef that creates this feast in our life. So keep expanding and investing in yourself as well, your own education, your knowledge, your well-being.
What are the most important lessons that you learned during this process and that you teach in your workshops and seminars?
One of the most important lessons I learned was that my self-worth is not defined by my net worth. Net worth is the size of the asset, the money you have that can work for you. And this is such an important distinction. And I think especially as women, but for guys as well, we get taught by society that the things we have, the car we drive, the clothes we wear, the holidays we go on, the house we live in, defines our worth, our success in this thing called life. And when I really realized that actually, no, my self-worth is something that comes from inside me, and my self-worth must always be and will always be bigger than my net worth ever is. And so by really connecting in and connecting into who I am, what's important to me, owning that, and really working on my own self-worth, which might sound a bit woo-woo, the irony is, the paradox is, the more you can love yourself truly, honor yourself, honor your dreams, and the faster your net worth grows. So a key shift in that paradigm, and that's why this shifting of working for money and letting money work for us and supporting us, expanding that. So believe in your dreams, have a big vision that is almost scarier than you could imagine. All the things you want to do, be, have, and create, because when we have a big why, we can do almost anyhow. But if you don't know why you're doing it, if you don't know what it's for, and who, and if you can't hold that clearly and crisply in your mind, then the necessary behaviors and actions and the things you're going to have to do and take to get there, you just won't have the motivation and drive. So really expand yourself, you and your self-worth, and have a big juicy why that pulls you forward, and then almost anyhow comes easily.
Nowadays women are told that they must have it all. Like, we're talking about more money and a great career and even family and children, and balancing the work life. And my question to you is, how can women live a truly fulfilled life?
Such a great question, and so important, because there is this whole pressure of what is it to be this superwoman. And yeah, there's this expectation that somehow if we don't just handle all of this lot, that we're a failure, or we're letting down the human race, let alone the sisterhood. And the first key thing for me was when I really got this thing called pay yourself first. And often we think it only relates to money, and I've already mentioned it in relation to money. But if we can really understand as this woman, why is it so important that we actually nurture ourselves? And it's a fundamental shift behaviorally. We've almost got to change the way we're brought up, change the meaning of what we thought we had to do and be to be loved, where it was almost the script of the sacrifice. I must first look after the children, the husband, the parents, my siblings, my friends, the business, everything else first. And if there's anything left over in terms of energy, focus, time, money, then maybe I can do the things that fill me, support me. And when we shift that around and realize, like they say on an airplane, secure your own oxygen mask before you support children and others, is such a key life principle. And this is not about being selfish. When we truly get that the most selfless thing we can do is ensure that we are in a place to be able to support others. Because we are filled, our energy, our enjoyment, our fun is first sought out. That the first hour or so that we spend of our day is really spent consciously saying and directing to the things that that fill our tank. That our money is spent first on going into our own financial well-being. That our focus and our energy is great. The food we put into ourselves, and we come from that empowered place. We see that is where we can truly contribute more, be more, and have it all, rather than getting it dissipated. But there's another key distinction that I also got. So there's one aspect: nurture yourself, build yourself up, and see that that is the most selfless place you can come from. The second was really get clear on what is important to you. We are bombarded in media and magazines about the definition of success, what we need to look like, the body we have to have, the clothes we've got to wear, the type of wife, husband, partnership. And this definition can be overwhelming and bombarding. When we can really come in and spend some time getting really clear on what is important to me. What will a successful life be for me? At the end of the day, when I look back on this journey called my life, what will be the things that have made me really proud? What will be the things that I am so glad I did? And when we can connect in what is valuable for us, and each of us, it's completely unique. It's as unique as we are. It's unique as our financial freedom feast will be. And when we can own that and get clear on that, it helps us to sort through this bombardment that we get with absolute clarity. We're able to move forward and ensure that we can then direct our money, our energy, our resource, our time, our focus to the things that are truly important to us. And our life gets richer and richer, and we are able to have that. And we are able to also strip away the other stuff that isn't supporting us, that doesn't bring us that great life, because we know what is our life, we know our truth. And having achieved my own financial freedom, I then set this up to help and really demystify the whole world of wealth and help others achieve their own financial freedom by giving them the knowledge, the skills, and tools. And this is through online programs, through blogging, through videos like this, and through the book, The Wealth Chef. And if people want to find out more and go more, I've got a great free 30-day money makeover challenge, which is just a video a day, really getting intimate with money, having money, giving the space in your life. Just, who hasn't done? I've got just 10 minutes to do. So go on to The Wealth Chef at thewealthchef.com and take the 30-day money makeover challenge and just start exploring. And from the resources in the Wealth Chef book, there's all the recipes you need to implement, as well as additional resources that you can download on the web. So I just want to encourage everybody to just start exploring this wonderful world of getting money working hard for them.
For more videos, check out our YouTube channel, WealthWise TV, or visit our website, wealthwisemag.com. Thank you.